Hi, everyone. It's Alex again and Tammy, and we are here to have another conversation about women in money or money. And we're kind of getting ready to kick off our group, and so we have lots of things to share. And this is one that we're really excited about sharing. It's the ladder, and I'll let Tammy take it away and kind of explain what this means. What does this mean?
Yes, well, I was flying home from Seattle the other day, and I was reading the Relationship Handbook by George Pransky. I think it's by George and Linda Pransky, and who are thought leaders in the Three Principles community. And it was so powerful. And granted, it referred to more couples, but I was thinking, well, how does this relate to our relationship with money? And one of the things they were talking about was about low mood and high mood. And Alex has on her whiteboard a ladder, which is something coach that we've both worked with, Steve Chandler, introduced to us several years back. And as you can see, she's drawing in where it's a low mood at the bottom of the ladder and high mood at the top of the ladder. And so they talk about, they were talking about with couples, and I'll relate to this with money. It's like when we're looking at our finances, for example, opening up our accounts or looking at Quicken, looking at our budget. It's where are we with our mood? Is it a low mood or in the middle, or is it more of a high mood? And you know, it's like when we're in the low mood, which is more about fear, maybe discouragement, maybe resentment, or even anger, it's almost like we have our blinders on, and there isn't a lot of room for possibility or to see with a wider vision. And when we're in a high mood and we're thinking about our finances or looking at, I'll give an example. There was a trip that I was considering, and it was a very pricey trip. And it was interesting because when I first thought about it, I was in a low mood. Mm-hmm. And it was like, well, how am I going to create from a low mood if I'm in the fear? Like, it was really more feeling discouraged, actually, was a better word. I was feeling discouraged, like, wow, this is a lot of money, and it isn't something that I feel like, oh, I can just plunk down $10,000 to go on this trip. And I thought, well, if I'm going to stay here in this low mood, it'd be really hard to see any possibilities for how I might create this. So I just took a step back, and I came back to it a while later, like a week later, when I could look at it with from a high mood, and then I could look at it and go, is this something I really want to experience? Because if it is, I know that I can create the funds, the resources to go on this trip. And it ended up that it wasn't a trip that really called to me, and I was really okay with that. But what's important, it's like when we're looking whether we have, you know, for anybody who has credit card debt, mm-hmm. or you're wondering, you know, how you're going to meet your bills, whatever that might look like. But if we're looking at it from that low mood and that fear or the shame around the credit card debt, it's really tough to have a perspective to see the possibilities.
Yeah, one thing, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, so what I want to kind of illustrate is like the lower down here, it's dark. It's
right.
Like in a crevice. And, you know, the higher up, it's lighter. You can see easier. You can see more easily. And I love that you brought up debt, because I know for me, I had $67,000 in debt at one time in my life. And that was a big number for me. I think it's a big number in general. It was a combination of student loans and consumer debt. But what in the beginning really held me down here was the embarrassment of what had occurred. Like, it kind of just happened, and I woke up and I was like, oh my God. But it was being down here in the low mood and relating to the debt down here. I got it was more challenging to come up with creative solutions, to create more income, to feel that actually that $67,000 belongs nowhere on the ladder. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. It didn't, you know, and so once I kind of started to cultivate that awareness, I was able to bring myself up and to relate to my life from a place of wellness. Where was I not in debt in my life? Where were things well in my life? And from that higher mood and having an awareness like not all is lost, I have plenty going for me. I became more creative, more resourceful, more curious, more interested, and actually just more capable of handling paying myself back, paying that debt back, just handling that, and then putting my awareness on, you know, what was possible in my life. So I wanted to interject because what I see often is that really this becomes a very dark place and it's hard to see. And when we can bring ourselves up, we feel lighter, and it is lighter, and we can see more clearly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not to say that fear and discouragement won't, like those kind of, like the thoughts that are behind that won't happen, because thoughts come in and out.
Because we're human?
Because we're human, yes. And knowing that those thoughts are going to pass. It's like they're going to come in, they're going to pass through, and we don't have to take those thoughts so seriously. Yeah. That we can allow the thought to just pass on through, because ultimately it's like we continue to always come back to our well-being, and when we come back to our well-being, when we can be really present, it's like right now in this very moment, everything is great, and or it's well. Like it may not be great, but it's like we're well, we're here. And when we have those negative thoughts that come in, it's like we can just not take them so seriously. Yes. Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about this and more with you and the 8 women who will join us. But for now, here's the ladder. Think about it. Yes, and we'll definitely have more conversation on this, because it's a hot topic, and there's a lot more to it. And yes, we're excited to dive more into this in our women's group. Yeah.